If Tiger had forced a playoff with Paul Casey, I'd like to know what kind of dent that would have put into that selection show. Steve Sands, Golf Channel NBC reporter, play-by-play host. He was part of the coverage there. Steve joins us now. Steve, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Dan. The first text I got yesterday when I got in the car to drive home after the tournament was exactly that point. A buddy of mine said, jokingly, I want to thank Tiger for not making that putt at the last so I could go watch the selection show.
If I would have told you, though, a month ago, Tiger has a chance to force a playoff at the Valspar, what would you have said?
I would have told you to have another. First of all, he's never played the Valspar, and Tiger has, throughout his career, Dan, as you know, played literally the exact same tournaments. He plays almost the same schedule every single year. So for him to, A, add a new event to his repertoire was a very big deal. And also for him to be in contention, you know, so soon into this comeback, I thought was an extremely big deal. So it was kind of an excellent Quinello there for the sport.
Should we pump the brakes at all on this?
I would. You know, I think that winning in this sport is perhaps, you could make a strong case that it's not, but I think it's perhaps the most difficult thing to do in all the sports, and here's why. Fred Couples is an all-time great player, Dan. He's in the Hall of Fame. He won 15 times on the PGA Tour in 30 years. It's a half a tournament a year, and he's in the Hall of Fame. So it's really, really hard to get to the finish line and then cross it. And, you know, Tiger had it right there. You know, if this was tennis, he had it on his racket. He was leading at one point early in the round after he birdied the first. He had a share of the lead. Everybody else was crumbling around him. Brandt Snedeker didn't play well. You know, tough spot for Brandt. He's a terrific guy and a great player, but it was the first time he'd been in it in a long time. Justin Rose didn't perform well. Corey Connors had no chance. It was the first time he was ever in that situation. Everybody else was crumbling around him like the old days. And Tiger just couldn't quite get it in gear because it's just hard to do it, Dan, really hard. But I would pump the brakes. Yeah, it's a process for him, and we'll see how this week fares at Bay Hill.
When you talk to him after the round, I thought he was almost surprised at that experience of being back in the mix, that he forgot what it felt like.
Yeah, I got a sense that he was a little bit. Boy, I mean, geez, Dan, I've interviewed the guy 1,000 times after wins and after losses, and normally after a loss, he's not happy. He is not a happy camper. I didn't sense that yesterday because I think, again, it's all part of the process. I thought it was really interesting, Dan, that he hit an iron off the last tee and not a 3-wood. I didn't expect him to hit a driver there. He needed birdie after making that electric birdie at 17 from 44 feet. And I did not expect him to lay up there with an iron at the last at the par 4 18. Maybe that speaks to where his level of confidence and where his level of comfort is in that situation as well.
One final note here, and this bothered the Danettes, and it was brought up in the morning meeting. And I know that this is controversial here. Patrick Reed wearing the same shade of red as Tiger on Sunday. Yeah. It's not the first time he's done it.
Right.
The Danettes have a problem with that. Didn't Tiger sort of stake his claim to that? Doesn't he own that?
He does own that, and he did stake his claim to it, and he's done pretty well with it over the years with 79 wins and 14 majors. Patrick Reed is one of those guys who thinks a little bit outside the box and also is a guy who's not afraid to speak his mind. And when that first came up years ago, whether it's the Danettes or anybody else in the world of golf or sports who happened to be upset about it, Patrick said, listen, I'm doing it as an homage to Tiger Woods. I'm doing it because Tiger was my guy, and I wanted to be Tiger Woods, so I'm going to dress like Tiger to see if I can perform like Tiger on Sunday. I mean, Tiger's the king out there, Dan. I mean, he's the king out there with all of these young guys, and Patrick is not afraid to emulate him, maybe maybe a little bit too much. But that's a tough spot to try to emulate, arguably the greatest player of all time, maybe number 2 behind Jack Nicklaus.
I'll bother you this weekend with some text messages while you're on the air.
Gosh, I hope so, Dan. You never bother me, man. I love it.
Thank you, Steve. Good to talk to you.
All right, bud.
That's Steve Sands, Golf Channel. He'll be part of the network's coverage, Arnold Palmer Invitational, this week in Orlando. First-round coverage begins Thursday on the Golf Channel. Weekend coverage continues on NBC.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.